So I know this is not how I usually come across, especially even on my vlogs, but it is a Sunday. It is Sunday the 14th of May, and I know I'm not going to have time to properly sit down and record kind of like this intro to this part of the vlog. So I thought while I've got some time on this Sunday, I've like washed my hair, I'm like in my comfy robe, I'm just about to read some more of my book, and I thought I would come on and tell you what's going to be happening this week. So I imagine this will be the start of a new fertility vlog. If you're just stumbling across my channel, hello, me and my husband have been trying for a baby sort of on and off for 4 years now, but sort of like actively trying. And yeah, we have, from this video you probably can tell, we've had some problems, and obviously we're not able to get pregnant. So yeah, I thought I'd come down, update you on what's been going on and what's happening this week, because I have quite a big appointment this week. So I think I left off on the last bit of vlog by telling you I was doing 3 months of Clomid, and 3 months came and went and there was no success with that, and I was kind of hoping like that would be the big sort of thing that helped us, and was kind of, I guess, naively thinking that could solve everything, because I have a friend and that's what helped her. I contacted them maybe like, or the fertility clinic, maybe like end of March, April time, and I was like, I've done the 3 months, it's not helping, and they were like, okay, we need to rebook you in with a consultant. They booked me in for the 17th of May, and I was like, well, is there anything I can do between now and then? Because I would have booked, had I known like that there was such a long wait, I would have booked this consultation sooner. And when I started the Clomid, I was like, should I book in for a consultation now, just like for in the 3 months time in case it doesn't work out? And they were like, no, that's fine, like you can wait the 3 months and then hopefully it will be good news, but if not, then we'll book you in then. And I kind of just went along with it. Didn't realise quite so how long the appointments were, so I was like, okay, so we're at the very least 1 cycle that I will be without Clomid, without any sort of form of help from them, waiting just for an over the phone consultation. So I emailed them and I was like, I am not happy about that. Can you like see if there's anything else we can do? Can I get some more Clomid? And they were like, well, we don't usually prescribe more than 3 months on the same dose if the 3 months has looked to have been responsive. And I have a problem with that anyway, because I took Clomid for the first month, and then you go in around certain days for a scan to make sure that you are responding to the medication. And I did that on the first cycle. I responded, but obviously it didn't help to ovulate and conceive. Second and third month, they didn't require any scans for. So as far as I'm aware, we're either way, like it could have worked, it could have not worked in helping my body respond, but I have no way of knowing if I responded the second and third tries. So the 3 months of Clomid went by, I've booked in, and I was like, no, let's get something going on. So then this week I have a actual in-person appointment to go in and have what they call a Hycosi scan. This is what my clinic call it. I don't know if it's like the general term, or that's just what they call it, but it's basically an investigation to make sure that my fallopian tubes are clear and not blocked. Again, if you've just stumbled across this video, my mum and my dad struggled to have me. They both had like combined problems, but my mum had blocked fallopian tubes, and that was kind of the main reason that they struggled to have me, and subsequently I was an IVF baby. And now, as far as I'm aware, this is not something that's hereditary, just like a massive coincidence that I'm also struggling, but this is what the next stage is, to investigate whether or not my tubes are clear. So I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about what that appointment is going to entail, as far as like they've told me on email, And they basically they did say on the email that you had to abstain from any intercourse from day 1 of your cycle. So I'm kind of like due on for my next cycle. So I don't know when in your cycle they want this scan or want to do this. I'm assuming they don't like to do it when you're on your period, so fingers crossed in 2 days time I'm not. Otherwise I feel I'd have to postpone it, and it feels like we've postponed it already for quite a while. And by postpone I mean nothing on our end, it's obviously just like a wait time. So in preparation for this, I had to get a chlamydia check. They said it was routine, just make sure there's nothing there. I was like pretty sure the results are going to come back negative. You know, I'd had a smear like a year before, everything came out fine for that. And seeing as I'm still only with Taryn, I knew that that wouldn't really be an issue. So that all came back negative. They required me to send that to them. I had to send them like a picture of the confirmation. No. And they do say on the email they recommend to have paracetamol about an hour before. One of the girls that I actually work with, she used to work at this clinic, sort of in the admin team, so she's pretty aware. She did say to kind of allow for about an hour and a half or so. Obviously we don't know what we're going to find. I don't know if you find out on the day or, you know, it's follow-up from that. But yeah, she was like kind of allow an hour and a half, which is fine. Work have been really good, letting me go for appointments. Not that I've had many so far. And one of the things it says is do not wear strong perfume on the day. So I don't know what that has in effect to it, but that's fine. That's something I need to remember. And again, on this email, like with everything explaining about it, it was like if you do have intercourse, whether you think you're going to get pregnant or not, they can cancel the appointment. So they really like stress not to have that. So what does Hycosi stand for? And I think that's how you're saying it. That's how my colleague said it. So it stands for hysterosalpingo contrast sonography. And the sun's just gone in. Get a bit of light in. It says, it is an investigation of the cavity of the uterus and fallopian tubes. If either the cavity or the tubes are damaged, it may be difficult to become pregnant. Hycosi is a screening and not a diagnostic test. Abnormalities detected at Hycosi will need confirming use of diagnostic test, e.g. keyhole surgery, a laparoscopy, or a womb inspection, a hysteroscopy. So whatever they find here, if they do find something, I will then need a proper like diagnostic confirmation, and I'll have to have like one of those minor surgeries. So what is it? So it's a transvaginal ultrasound, which is what, you know, I've had a couple of times now. You know, it's not supposed to hurt, but it is kind of uncomfortable, they say. And then they also use a small catheter, which is passed into the uterus through the cervix. And under ultrasound, they then put a small volume of liquid up there to make sure everything's clear. We aim to perform the procedure between day 8 and 18 of your cycle. Please note that we will not be able to do the examination if you're still bleeding from your period or if there's any chance you're pregnant. Are there any side effects? And it's just like discomfort, and the rest is like about private, but that's not necessary because at the moment we're still under the NHS. So that's what I'm going for. Like I said, I'm still like, I feel like we're going through this and like they've really not focused a lot on days and like days in your cycle. Obviously, like I had to tell them when my next 3 months predicted periods were, so they could like work out when to do the scan. So I'm assuming when I go in this week that should be fine. On my like period tracker it says that I am like days away from starting my period. So fingers crossed we don't have that. But yeah, so I'm going in this Tuesday. Funnily enough, later on that evening we are going up to Cardiff and we're seeing Beyonce the next day with me and my mum. So also on the 17th I have my original phone consultation, so I believe that's still in place. So whatever happens on the 16th I guess we can follow up and talk about it the next day, unless they put anything in place on the 16th when I have my scan. So that is that. So yeah, not a lot's been going on that side of things. Other things I have going on, one of my very, very good friends that I've known since like we were in school has actually become pregnant. And like obviously I'm not going to go on to it too much because like that's her story, that's that. But obviously it has affected me, I'm not going to lie. Hello Winnie. Hello Winnie. We love a Winnie cameo. Yes, who is that? Who is that gorgeous girl? Oh, Winnie. Oh, look out the window. Yes, the gorgeous girly. Say hi. I'm the only baby girl here. But yes, I'm not gonna like lie or like hide it. Like, obviously it affected me. Obviously I'm super excited for her, because I know it's something that ultimately her and her husband wanted. And you know, I'm nothing but like pleased for her. But at the same time, and if you've been through infertility and you've had someone very close to you announce a pregnancy, you know how much it can impact you behind the scenes. Darren's taken it okay. He was probably like me, very shocked, and I think the couple of days afterwards it was a lot to get my head around, and I kind of am still getting my head around it, because I don't see her on a daily basis. It's kind of easy to put that aside, put it in a box, not think about it, and I would hate for her to see this and think that like she has to hide anything from me, or like that she would feel bad about being pregnant, and like I would hate for her to feel anything like that, in case she is watching. But it just like reiterates the thing that, you know, infertility sucks. And I spoke to my mum about it. She knows it as well exactly what we're going through, because when she tried to have me, my aunt became pregnant very easily with my cousin, in the midst of while they were struggling, and so yeah, that was a big shock, and obviously it's still something that I'm getting my head around. It's something that I know I'm going to have to deal with for this year. You know, gender reveals, baby showers, the ultimate pregnancy, giving birth side of things, and like I will be totally present there for her, super excited, but I can't neglect my own feelings and like all of the emotions that come with it. Like, and if you've been through this, you know, you go through the different cycles of anger, frustration, jealousy, and like I spoke to someone recently about this, and it's like, you're not like jealous that they're having a baby, you're not like angry that they're having a baby, you're angry at your own situation, and that the fact that it's not happening for you, and the world seems completely unfair sometimes. And you know, I constantly getting barrage of like pregnancy updates and reveals on Instagram. I don't even follow, like I follow one pregnant influencer, one celebrity, and that's about as much as I can tolerate, really. So yeah, that's kind of been the update. Those are the sort of the two main things that have been going on in our journey. I will pick up the camera at some point later this week and just update you on how that appointment went. Obviously I'll try and take you with me as much as I can. It might be again some phone footage just because that's a lot easier to do whilst we're there, and it is a very personal appointment as far as body wise goes. So yeah, but I thought I'd just sit here, kind of air out all my feelings, have this little like group therapy with you. If you are struggling at the moment to get pregnant, or you know, gone through a miscarriage, infertility, anything, whether it be recently in the past, or you know, something you're about to embark on, like us, you know, we feel like even though we're 4 years down the line, we're very much only 6 months within being with a actual fertility consultant, so we still feel very much new to this. It kind of just feels like the start of things. It feels like, you know, we're having to start to prepare ourselves now that we are in this for the long run. No matter what the outcome comes out this week, there's clearly a reason that we've not got pregnant so far, so I'll speak to you later on in the week. And yeah, I'm running late, 5 minutes late. Traffic was a nightmare, parking was a nightmare, but I'm here. It's one way to get your heartbeat up. So I'm back out now, and probably shouldn't be filming like straight afterwards when I look like this, but this is real life and this is what it's like going through infertility. So all in all, I was in there for about 45 minutes, probably like half an hour, because I even got there 10 minutes late. Like I said, they gown you up, they take you into, it's basically like a minor ops room. It doesn't feel like a theatre at all, but they gown you up and put the little head cap on. It was a lovely view out of the like little ward section. I thought I'd come out of it and like sit there, and they'd be like, you know, just take your time, we'll bring you some tea and biscuits. Like, that's what I was kind of told. But none of that happens. They were like, get dressed, and then when you're ready you can go. I've got like a leaflet in case, like, again, like the cramps last all day, or if I get temperature. In theory, they were like, you should just have cramps for like an hour or so. The procedure itself was, I mean, it was fine. There was a bit where like they put, I think, the speculum in and like really like turned it up, like made it bigger, and that was quite painful. I did take the paracetamol half an hour before. There was a lot of like cramps. It was really weird how like, it can make you feel crampy. They put the fluid through. So outcome is, they were really like unsure because I had so many follicles and it looked like my ovaries had stimulated and produced the follicles. So they were like, and there's like no chance you could be pregnant. And I was like, no, ever since I've got this appointment, like, we've made sure to not do anything, because, you know, they said there could always be a risk. So she was really like confused about that, and like I said, I'd had some random spotting in like the mid of my month. She was like, we'll have a look at the tubes. My tubes are all clear, they're fine, that's not the issue. So this could purely be like a timing thing, and we're never timing it right, I don't know, or what. But she was like, yeah, you have a lot of follicles, so we're gonna have to rescan you in a month. So 20th of June I have to go for another scan, and I was like, so what do I do between now and then? And she was like, it's best not to even like attempt trying this month, because if you were to ovulate, then because there's so many follicles there, you could risk having a multiple pregnancy. So I think that's why I'm kind of emotional, because it feels like I've got to wait another month for something to happen. And like, we're kind of like wiser with what's going on. I think almost like if my tubes had been blocked, at least then I know what the cause is. There's a car here that they're gonna think I'm really weird. Sorry, so I just had to move off because the car wanted my space. But I thought I'd just sort of finish off that bit. So yeah, we're kind of no further along with knowing what the issue is, what's going on. I have to wait another month. I feel like I've got mascara all down my face. Another thing that throws a spanner in the works, if I do have to start IVF, they're moving sites, and they were like the whole of like August, and like a little bit either side of August, they can't use their IVF license for whatever reason. They have to apply for a new one, and so egg retrieval was halted. So if I did need that,
I could do all the scans, but I wouldn't actually be able to have the actual egg retrieval until they moved into their final site. She also said in Hampshire, under the NHS, it's only up to 35, which I thought was incredibly young, because usually, like, you think 40 is the standpoint, and they were like, yeah, I think 40 or 45 42 is in Dorset, but the age limit is 35 in Hampshire. She was like, oh, because like the receptionist was like, oh, you're nice and young, you're only 26. I thought, well, that doesn't, like, that's irrelevant to me, I'm still going through this now. So yeah, I think that I'm quite emotional. I am gonna go home for a little bit before I go to work. Darren's working from home as well, so he did ask if he wanted to come with me, but he probably wouldn't have been able to come into that little minor ops room anyway, so it's fine, I'll just do it on my own. So yeah, that's what's happened today. Obviously we're going to Disney in June, so straight after we come back from that, I'll be going for my scan. So yeah, I'll catch up with you in the next
morning guys. So just a very quick add-on to this part of the vlog. It is the 20th of June and today I've gone in for a follow-up scan from obviously the abnormal one that I had last time, or semi-abnormal. Good news is they said everything's okay, ovary's back to normal, battery's about to die, but I should have a follow-up with the consultant later this week to discuss going forward. But she was really helpful. She showed me the screen and like she said my uterus looks fine, the womb looks okay. She really went in depth and actually like showed me what she was looking at, so I really appreciated that. I will talk to you a bit later once I hear back from the doctor. Hi guys, so I just wanted to sort of sum up the end of this video. So yesterday, which was the 30th of June, I had my consultation with a consultant following my last scan to obviously see if everything had gone back to normal, and she basically went through sort of all my history, what was kind of seen on the scan. She didn't tell me anything that I kind of didn't already know from what the sort of technician told me, in the sense that everything looked sort of back to a normal state. She could see I'd ovulated on my left side, but there was nothing else going on. So the specialist wants to repeat my blood work, wants to repeat Darren's sperm test, because if you've not seen like the earlier videos, he had you know, the swimmers themselves were like fine, but they looked a bit abnormal, but they weren't concerned about that, so they want to repeat that again in case anything's changed. They want Darren to start another supplement. He's on tons of meds and vitamins anyway from his weight loss surgery, but they've asked him to take another one. Obviously I take my sort of wellness vitamin for pre-pregnancy, and yeah, so they want us to do some bloods, repeat Darren's work, and then they want us to go back in September, because they're moving clinics as well. Everything's going to be up and running in September, and that gives, you know, us a chance to kind of just have a breather, decide what we want to do, whether, you know, obviously the bloods they want me to do is to check my progesterone levels, because I think they were low when I first did them. So yeah, and it's probably been over a year since that blood test, so that's why they want to repeat them. Yeah, so in September the two options are either I go back to Clomid, which I'm not quite sure, like I feel like maybe we should try maybe a few more months of Clomid, and just see, in case we were just sort of timing it wrong with ovulation. I don't know, but then the other stage is, do we just do a round of IVF, and that is the next stage. So that's what we're kind of thinking about. You know, there's the hope that between now and then, you know, it might happen naturally. We're kind of not trying to focus too much on it at the moment. I think this sort of calm couple of months now is going to be quite nice for us, at least for me, I think. because you're so sort of focused on times and schedules and what's the next scan and waiting. And I think it's quite nice to know, okay, we're going back in September, we can kind of take it easy until then, talk about it, decide what kind of plan of action we want to do, and go from there. They very much obviously leave it open to you. They don't sort of suggest, she didn't suggest either way as to what might be the better route to go down. So yeah, that kind of, I feel, finishes this chapter for now. Obviously I'll come back in September, update you then, unless anything happens sooner. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. Hi guys, so today is the 22nd of August, I believe. Yes, I'm not quite sure what the last clip was that I recorded, but I imagine it was around the time of, obviously I had my high cozy and all that, and then I was doing some more blood tests. So I had a blood test about 3-ish weeks ago. They wanted to repeat my progesterone blood test, to make sure the levels are okay. So I had that done, and they like to do that about a week before your predicted period, and my period actually ended up coming 2 weeks later. So I emailed them at the clinic and I said, you know, this is now becoming 2 weeks out, and a week out of when you wanted it. Would you like me to repeat the tests? And they said yes. So I have that blood test booked for next week, which hopefully is a week before a period. I've always found it really difficult to predict my periods, even though I've got the app. I run about like a 32, anywhere from like a 32 to a 35 day period, so on the sort of longer side of things, but not like ridiculously out of whack. And yeah, so I've got that to repeat, but I'll go into that in a minute as to why I will not be doing it. And they also asked if Darren could repeat his tests. So we had our first initial tests maybe, I want to say probably 2021, because we started sort of end of 2019, 2020, sort of trying through that lockdown period, as I think a lot of people did, whether they meant to or not, and it didn't work out for us. So I think in 2021 was when we started to have actual investigations. I feel so long, but that's only what, 2-3 years back. And yeah, so they want to repeat Darren's sperm test from them. When he had it before, they said they looked slightly abnormal, but they weren't too concerned. When I spoke to the consultant a few weeks ago about sort of next steps and to repeat these tests, she wanted Darren to take a multivitamin, sort of a more targeted one for fertility, and I guess sperm quality. So he's been on that for about 3-4 weeks now. So he went to the fertility clinic. So he went to the fertility clinic yesterday, produced his sample, and I actually had a consultation with one of the consultants today. Completely forgot that I even had this sort of follow-up phone call, because I was sort of waiting for the blood test next week, and I got a no caller ID on my phone and I was like, I think it might have been today that I was scheduled for that phone appointment. So yes, and I've been really ill. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, so everything's sort of gone out the window with appointments and things. Anyway, so I spoke to a guy today, really lovely consultant. I've not spoken to him before. This feels like a running theme. I don't know if this is in general with fertility clinics, or my one in general, or because we're going down the NHS route. I don't know, but I never seem to speak to the same consultant twice, which is pretty annoying because you feel like you're repeating everything to them every time that they phone. Fortunately, he had already sort of looked at my notes, which was great, because in the past they haven't, and they just phone you up. And he said, to be honest, he's not that bothered about me getting those tests repeated next week. From all that's been going on, and if you haven't seen all those other videos, it's a grand old playlist. But from the fact that I was overstimulating at one point, he doesn't seem too concerned that I'm not ovulating, which is sort of what they were checking for. So he said, look, you know, it's up to you if you want to do sort of 3 more rounds of Clomid, you can do that, or if you want to put in for the NHS funding now for IVF. Me and Darren are both candidates. We, in theory, are the perfect people to apply for funding. You know, no previous children, don't smoke, you know, our weight's good, everything like that now. So the funding itself with the NHS takes about 3 months to come through. So I was like, well, can we put in for funding and then try 3 months of Clomid, or just try naturally? And he was like, to be honest, I can put you on Clomid, but when I write the report for the NHS, they may turn around and say defer the funding for IVF until those 3 months have happened. So I was like, do you know what, we'll just go in for the IVF. You know, we're at this stage now where we've been trying and trying each month and just not getting any luck out of it. So we have put in, well, we've requested the paperwork to come through for us to sign, and then it will send off. He says it takes about 3 months for the funding to come through. So what are we, end of August, end of September, October? We're looking at the end of November, so around Christmas time, to be awarded that funding, hopefully. And then he said you have a year, if you get accepted and you get it, you have a year in which you can use that funding. Because I said to him, we have a holiday booked around September of next year to go, obviously, to Florida, and, you know, we don't want to be fully pregnant at that point. So he was like, you know, you've got the year, you've got a little bit of leeway. And, you know, at the end of the day, IVF, that's not a guarantee either that we're going to be successful within my catchment. And I think most of England, you only get 1 try covered under the NHS. So it very much feels like a lot of pressure on this situation. You know, the fact that if it doesn't happen this time, what are our options? Because IVF can be pretty pricey. I think we're talking in the ranges of between like 8 and 15 grand, I think, for like 1 round of IVF. So we would have to cross that path when it came to it. But a really difficult thing to sort of get your mind into the thought of. So yeah, I've spoken to Darren about it. I feel like Darren's not been in any of these videos, and it's not the fact that he's not been there for anything or he's not been supportive, because he very much has, but I feel like up until now we've kind of been on our own separate journeys trying to do the individual body sort of investigations, and now we're sort of coming together. He said once the funding comes through, the clinic will get in contact with us and they'll book us an appointment. We will both go in, they'll talk us about everything in detail with IVF, how it works, which I feel is going to be very mind-boggling, so I'll be glad to have Darren with me for that. And then there'll be a separate appointment with me and a nurse where they can go through the medication side of things, how to take the injections and all that. Which for someone that's, I mean, I'm not too bad with injections, blood tests I really don't like, but no one's really that thrilled about injecting themselves on the daily. And I saw a TikTok of a woman who was at a Taylor Swift concert and she was like injecting herself mid-show, because you have to do it like the same time, like every day, I think. So but yeah, so that's where we're at with that side of things. As far as like emotionally and how we're doing, I feel like the last few months, or at least the last month or so, I've been able to really sort of not focus on it. I have been really quite ill. I had a really quite bad virus, so I've not really been thinking about it. You know, we've not been trying actively over the last cycle, because I was unwell, and that threw that out the window. Yeah, we're in the time period now where we probably can try, so we will try, you know, every month probably until the funding comes through, but just like take it easy, you know. That, I mean, that's the worst thing anyone can say is, you know, relax, go on holiday, you know, don't think about it and it will happen. And for some people it does work and some people it doesn't. If you've not seen the other videos, my mum had IVF when she had me, and I was a 3rd time lucky IVF baby.
and on the third go I think they'd just been on holiday, and there was like a family rift while they were out there, and like it was quite stressful with the family member they took, and so my mum's mind was sort of elsewhere, and you know, that could have been everything sort of falling into line, and she wasn't necessarily thinking about the IVF as much. So who knows, but yeah, I'd like to say Darren's doing okay. I think he is, throughout this, all been very sort of matter of fact. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll just sort of hit every barricade as it comes to us. I have been okay. I have had some therapy sort of within June and July for various different reasons, but one, to really discuss my IVF and my infertility journey, to get it off my chest with the fertility clinic. They do offer some counselling, and they do offer a buddy service when they like match you up with like another couple going through it. So I need to look into that a bit more. So I've had about 6 sessions worth of counselling, and I felt that was really good to sort of work through some things, just sort of get everything off my chest. You know, I talk very openly with you guys, and I talk very openly with other people in my life, my family and all that, but it's nice to sort of sometimes speak to someone that has sort of the clinical side of things, but not within your situation, if you know what I mean. So that was really successful, I feel, to sort of get me into a better place, because I was really quite low for a period of time. And yeah, other things, have a baby shower to attend next week, which is going to be difficult. And I've spoken about this, I think, in one of my last clips, so I don't want to sort of reiterate it again and feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's that really fine line with, you want to be super present. You know, it's one of my best friends, I'm really excited for her. You want to be super present for it all, but at the same time, I know I am not doing as much and like asking as much questions and being as invested in her pregnancy had I not been going through all of this myself. It feels like you are being a bit selfish, but I think, and if anyone's been through infertility, gone through a trying to conceive journey, you know that you have to put your situation and yourself and your feelings first, and at the same time you don't want them to feel guilty for like going through it easier than you have and all of that. But yeah, needless to say, I'll show up for the baby shower. I did have to go and pick out some clothing. I was sent a baby registry, like a almost like a wedding present gift registry, and that was quite hard to receive, and I didn't end up buying anything from that registry. I found it too triggering, and I think it's because you feel like the first person you should be buying for, and I always sort of saw myself as being the first one out of our friendship group to be the one to get pregnant first, and you kind of, it hurts your heart a little bit to be buying for someone else. Like I said, not that you are resenting them and the situation. It's a fine line, because obviously, like I said, you don't want them to feel bad, but also these are real emotions that you are feeling as well. So I feel like I've not been sort of as present for her. But I've tried to do what I can, and like I said, and that was part of it with the gift registry. I had to be in a positive mindset and on like a spur of the moment day to be able to order things or buy something in store, and I ended up buying a few bits in store, because up until that point I wasn't able to sort of face the baby registry and that side of things. I think that is everything I've really got to cover you on. I feel like this is going to be a closing chapter now, until towards the end of the year, unless anything happens between now and then, you never know. But yeah, I thought I'd jump on and update you where we're at. I feel like we're no further along, but also this is quite a big step. Today, the 22nd of August 2023, is the day we have agreed to officially start the process for IVF, which is a big thing. It's no small, you know, it's invasive both mentally and physically. There's a lot of strain, both on me and Darren. So yeah, it's a big moment. Obviously you'll be there with us, and yeah. So I thought I'd quickly just include this little clip. Just about to attend the baby shower, so I thought I'd do a before and after debrief with you guys. I'm a little bit stressed because parking's not been great, but I'm gonna try and calm down and go in. Feel very emotional, feel on the edge, not had a great morning. Yeah, breathe. I'm probably going to be the last one there unless everyone's early, I don't know. Yeah, let's go. So I've just come for a little breather, a little break, a little 5 minutes to myself. It's a lot, it's tough. I won't talk too much, but yeah, hanging in there. We're out, we made it, we're okay. Yeah, so it was 3 hours long, and I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard. Yeah, I had to have a little moment to myself in the toilet, but it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Not only obviously my friend whose baby shower was, but she also had another friend there who was pregnant, and another friend there who actually brought along her 5-month-old baby, and I kind of thought that might happen, so I'd kind of braced myself for it. But obviously, like, it is just really hard being around other people's babies, not gonna lie. And yeah, it was fine, we played a few games. It is what it is, baby showers. You either love them or hate them regardless of like your infertility situation. Yeah, I did my best. Hopefully, like, my emotions didn't show too much. I did feel like I was quite quiet. Naturally I wasn't, you know, engaging as much in these baby and pregnancy conversations because it's a really difficult time for us. You know, in the same week we are sending off our paperwork to start IVF, so obviously it's hard. But it was nice to see everyone. If you've ever been through infertility or any sort of hardship around conception, when you see or hear or someone says something about pregnancy or a baby, or you see something, sometimes you get, which I can only describe as like your heart hurting. And I think it can, well, I'm assuming it's more of a maternal thing. I can only speak for myself, but it's like this thing within my whole soul, starts like from my chest here and like goes into like my belly area. I guess you could say like where you would grow a baby, and just get these aches, these like flittering flutters of heartache. Like, you can physically feel it. It's hard to describe, but you can physically feel this flutter, this ache, this pain, this very much punch in the gut of, that should be me, why is that not us, all that sort of thing. So that was really hard, and I felt that a lot through today, but we've made it through. I just wanted to include these clips because this is part of the journey. This is what tons of people go through. Like, I was talking to my mum about it. She was like, we were going through the exact same thing. We have failed IVFs, and your aunt at the same time was conceiving with your cousin. So it is really difficult. Anyone watching this, man, woman, going through this, know that I am with you. I know how you're feeling. Stay strong, if only for today. And yeah, I'm wishing you all of the luck and love. Yeah, let's get back to the rest of the video. Hopefully this is, whether you're stumbling across this for the first time because you're also going through infertility, I hope that this has made you feel like you're not alone in the moment as it's happening, or if you have been following along with me and my channel for many years, thank you for sort of sticking around and being on this next journey with us. I hope you're all doing well. If you ever want to reach out about something you're going through, please leave me a comment, send me an email, head over to my Instagram. I'm always very open to chat, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.